Welcome back to Trigger Point Tuesday. Last week I promised you that we'd get into some stuff about the hamstrings, and we're going to have a little bit different setup today on the sound, so hopefully this will sound a little bit better with my microphone here. So a big thing about the hamstrings is we always have people dealing with hamstring tightness, hamstring problems, repetitive hamstring injuries, and so we keep wanting to treat the hamstring. But I encourage you to take a step back and just look at the whole picture. And let's look at the hips, for example. What position are the hips in? Because that's going to tell you a whole lot about what's going on with that hamstring. Most people are going to have those hips in an anteriorly rotated position, and it's going to over-lengthen the hamstrings. Now, a muscle being pulled lengthened is going to feel the same as a muscle that's shortened. It's going to give you the same sensation of feeling tight. We can't keep stretching it out. But what we can do is roll it. We've done some of this in the past, but we'll spend a little bit more time doing it. So if you have a question about the hamstrings, what I want you to first look at is some sort of a movement assessment, whether you prescribe to the overhead squat assessment with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, or if you follow a functional movement screen. It doesn't matter, just some sort of assessment so you can see what's going on in the hips. And then a very elementary test you can do to get a little snapshot of the hamstrings is just a basic hamstring range of motion test. So you can lay in a supine position, try to get your spine relatively neutral, bring the hip here up to 90 degrees, and then just see how far you can stretch out this leg. This knee should get to about 160 to 180 degrees. If you can get there, then your hamstrings aren't short. They're perfectly fine. But what you can do is you can still create some motion. We can reintroduce that range of motion and separate those tissues, get that myofascial release, so that way it should reduce the sensation of tightness that you may be having, and they will fire better. So what we're going to do, take your TP block, and let's take your quad baller. Now you're going to place it at an angle on the edge that's closer towards you. Let's start at that distal portion of the hamstring here. You can apply pressure here with this arm if you need to, or the opposing arm. Very slow roll, so nice and controlled. Let's repeat this 4 times. There we're just flushing some blood through the area. And now this next move here will be key. We're going to let this slide down the roller, and that's going to be a shearing force, and that's going to help get mobility there side to side in the hamstrings and try to differentiate between that adductor. And then just repeat that process up a little bit higher. Apply pressure, slowly roll 4 times, and then get that shearing force so you're sliding down the roller. Once you work all the way up that medial hamstring, let's go to the other side, and let's get this lateral hamstring. So start on the biceps femoris. Again, pressure here. Nice slow roll 4 times, and then that shearing force down, back up, and down. Be sure you breathe and try to relax. And again, reposition and slowly work all the way up to the hip. So spend a couple minutes doing that. Get that motion there to the hamstring. If you do that range of motion test and you have plenty of range of motion, stop stretching the hamstrings. Spend more time stretching those quads and hip flexors. Give the hamstring some attention with your quad baller in your block, but I would watch that stretching like I said. So that's it for today. Hopefully the sound was a little bit better. And as always, leave your comments on Facebook. Let me know some ideas. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let us know what they are. And we'll see you next week.